Morning, or afternoon or evening, wherever you're listening around the world. It's 12th man back. We've got another Arsenal show. It's myself, Gunnar Russ, and Kenny Ken. We've got no Chris today. Chris is busy, but he'll be back next week. So we're going to talk. We're going to talk about the running of the Champions League. We're going to talk about that FA Cup draw. We're going to talk about the murmurings of Arsenal doing a quadruple. Now, before we get into will we, won't we? Do you think we will? Do you think we won't? We're going to talk about the competitions and how important these next couple of months are going to be. So there's a lot to talk about. To do that with, I've got Gunnar Russ and Kenny Ken today. Always a pleasure, boys. Hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you're following OK Jersey, today's sponsors. We've got 12 man, 8% off any World Cup jersey with name or number on the back ready for the World Cup. Or, of course, you can get any Arsenal current or retro kit with any of your legends on the back as well. So go and show them some love. OK Jersey, links in the description or in the live chat. Pinned message in this stream, so make sure you're showing them some love before or after the show. Gunnar Russ, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Can I just give a little shout out to my mate Johnny White? He's the fella who took me to my first game back in the 70s. He's having a multiple hernia operation today, so I just want to wish him all the best from all of us here, and I hope it's all a good success for you. Get a good result.
Big up, John. I've met John. He's a lovely bloke as well. So big up to John. I hope it all goes well. Kenny Ken, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. All good. You know, it's looking forward to this. Well, the rest of the season. We're in so many competitions. As you said, seeing the FA Cup, the draw. The gods of the FA have been very good for us in terms of the draw. I'm sure someone's got something with their name on it, and obviously you've got the Champions League, and obviously there's talk of quadruple. As soon as you get in the March and you're still in these competitions, you have to take that seriously. But let's not forget, City can also do the quadruple as well. So it's very exciting teams for the top two teams in this country.
Well, look, it's a nice segue, Russ, into Manchester City because their next 7 fixtures are absolute hell. I'm not going to get this right in order, but roughly speaking, they've got to play Real Madrid, West Ham away, Real Madrid again, Arsenal in the Cup final, Liverpool in the FA Cup, Arsenal in the league, and then Bayern Munich either side of those if they do beat Real Madrid. Arsenal got tough fixtures, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather come off the back of Mansfield than Newcastle away. I'd rather have Bayer Leverkusen in the pipeline as opposed to Real Madrid, and I'd rather draw Southampton in the FA Cup than I would Liverpool. So right now, there's not really many excuses, Russ, is there? What did you make of the draws itself?
Yeah, I was praying that Liverpool and City will get together, and yeah, we've had an easy passage. The first time for a few years, isn't it, where we've had that, where we normally get a top team away from home or a Man United at home. So yeah, so you need a bit of luck in the FA Cup because it ain't an easy competition to win. Although we've been very successful in it over the years, it's not easy to win. The run of games, it's the same for both of us. It's coming thick and fast now. So this is when our squads will show their mettle. And yeah, it's exciting times. It's exciting times. I just wish we were playing a little bit better, but we're still getting results. So while we're still getting results, we can't moan. I don't think City have been on fire either, have they? I think they played a little bit better at Newcastle. I think they probably said one of their better performances this season. But yeah, that'll be. I don't think Madrid are in good form though either, are they? I don't think they're tearing up trees, and they've had a couple of major injuries as well to their front line. So probably a good time to be playing Madrid. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom for City. It's going to be difficult. It's not easy to win trophies. It's not easy. But we're in them all. So we've got to be positive until we go out of one. And it's all about momentum. While we're still in everything, the momentum's good, the mood's good. As soon as you go out of one, it'll be a bit of a Debbie Downer, won't it? So, yeah, I'm nervous still. I'm not giving it large amounts of chest and confidence because I don't, this is Arsenal we're talking about. We don't do things the easy way, do we? So, yeah, it's a difficult run of fixtures, lots of games, and then we have a break, don't we? International break again
after the cup final.
Is that after the cup final? Is it? Yeah. Yeah, so that it's all coming in a bit of a rush now. Tonight, I'm just hoping that we do a professional job and keep ourselves or get ourselves into a healthy position for the following week. And the Everton game won't be easy either because they're a difficult team to break down. They'll come with their low block and like they did last year, and we'll see what happens. This is when you start to get a little bit. You need a little bit of luck, don't you? You need a little bit of luck with injuries. You need a little bit of luck with cards and stuff, and you need a little bit of luck in front of goal, and a little bit of luck in your defending, because the players are getting tired now. Not tired, but fatigued over the course of the season, mentally and physically. So, yeah, we'll see. It's got to be interesting month ahead.
Yeah, it will be. It really will be. And look, Kenny, I know the players and managers say we only take it one game at a time, and I appreciate they probably do. And that's the professionalism coming through. But fans do like to get excited and they do like to look ahead. This March, April, May is going to be massive and probably the 3 biggest months of Arsenal's history in a long time. I look at what we're still in. We're in everything. I'm not going to ask you the obvious, do you think we're going to do the quadruple? But I want to ask the question slightly differently. Why do you think people are now asking or worried from rival fans base? I had this like yesterday of LB. I'm now worried about Arsenal. People worried about Arsenal doing a quadruple. I think that's an incredible ask, personally. But right now, we are in a very good position. Now, let me just explain. We're in a Carabao Cup final. That could be 1 trophy. A lot of people think we're favourites to win the Premier League. That could be 2 trophies. We're very favourable to go through to both the semi-finals of the Champions League and the FA Cup now. And we look very favourable in those competitions. Surely this can't be the unthinkable season, can it?
Well, the thing about it is that, first and foremost, it's going to be a very expensive time for fans.
Yeah.
Going, if you think if Arsenal are successful in this competition, I mean, trips to Europe, trips to Wembley for FA Cup semi-finals now, which I think is a disgrace. And obviously, there's potential trips to Budapest and Wembley for the cup final. So yeah, it's going to be very expensive for fans. But in terms of rival fans being worried, yeah, well, the fact is the draw's been very kind to us, especially in the FA Cup. I mean, lower league teams, throughout to the quarterfinals, we're huge favourites to get to Wembley in the semi-finals, where we will play a Premiership team, and that will even itself out. And the Champions League draw, we were rewarded for our success in the Champions League in terms of finishing top of the table. So those are the rules we've got to play for. Personally, I think I don't like UEFA contriving anything. I like the draw of the hat. I don't like because you won the league, you get home draws every season. I believe Arsenal were complaining last season because they didn't get their own way because they finished further in the table. And I think, fair enough. But it was the same for Inter. Inter didn't always get their own way all the time with the draws. So who knows? But the fact is that Arsenal's have got to remember one thing. They're not playing Swansea City in the Carabao Cup final. They're playing a very good Man City team who, let's face it, on paper, they got more fitter options than we have in terms of attacking wise. Yeah, we got more defenders, midfielders. It's half and half, but you look at the options now. If you have to look at their performance against Newcastle, going a goal down, and Newcastle very robust. They played a low block, hit them on the break, but Man City's response is unbelievable. But the options to have the bench, so that's not going to be easy. And then you look at Real Madrid. Yeah, Real Madrid on reputation. But in essence, Man City's still got the options, so you never know. But in terms of Arsenal, I say it's fatigue. Fatigue's our worst enemy. But one thing Arteta's had, the biggest stroke of luck Arteta's had, is that his draws in the FA Cup. He's able to rotate. I mean, against Wigan, how many players did he leave out? About nearly 10?
Yeah.
On Saturday, he left at 9. So in terms of that, he's actually able to rest the players that we think are half fit, running empty. So that's been a godsend for him. That the gods have been on his side. Whilst if we were playing Liverpool, playing Man City, he wouldn't be able to do that. So there is stock in that. One thing I will say is that despite the rest we're getting, our Forwards ain't clicking. You know, Trossard and Martinelli are getting into their bad ways again. One's a complete and utter dibbly-dobbly. You know, and that's not a bad thing to call him a dibbly-dobbly, because dibbly-dobbly, description of a dibbly-dobbly is someone who is Trossard. Before Christmas and the early start of the calendar year, he was in great form, but now he's reverted to type. That is a dibbly-dobbly. And you know what I've been saying about Martinelli all summer, that we had to sell him, and that what you're seeing is what you get, and it's not impressive. It's very bad. Very, very bad. The only reason why there probably is because Saka hasn't pulled up trees. And you know my thoughts on, you know, Victor Gyökeres. I think his stats is one of the biggest lies in football, judging by what we've seen in technique-wise and how he's played all season. You know, it's as big as lie as, you know, England winning 5-1 in Germany. That's one of the biggest myths ever. But on the record, people misconstrued that for a good season. But you have to be in it to win it, Dan. You have to be in it to win it. And that's the situation. But I'll be more confident that we're getting more out of our forward line if, you know, Saka was back in some consistent form. If Havertz wasn't stop and start, but Havertz is because of his injury. We expect him so much. We think he's a saviour, whilst the guy's just come back from injury. He's gonna be woefully inconsistent. Odegaard's a lost cause. Hearing from the Norwegian FA, who Odegaard sits to talk to him more than his own club, that he should be back before the end of March. Not will be back, should be. So those are stumbling blocks, but the draws are fine. I think the exciting times and the hard games now start from the Carabao Cup final. City are not going to be easy. City, in many people's eyes, be favourites because of the difference in terms of options and squad. And then obviously in the league, we're the favourites because we've got the points. And the Champions League, people were saying we're the favourites, but you know what happened last season when you had the second half of the Champions League where the English teams got tired and their European cousins got fitter.
Listen, you've spoken a lot of sense there, Kenny, in my opinion. If we really want to go into this about multiple trophies, one, we're going to have to keep the side fit, but we're also going to have to improve going forward. And I know that people will look at the stats and say there's nobody that scored more open play goals than Arsenal this season. There's nobody that scored more goals in all competitions than Arsenal this season other than Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But Russ, I do get what Kenny's saying, and the chat is also saying it, that going forward right now, it don't look pretty for Arsenal at times. And I appreciate how good we are defensively and that you can score a goal at any moment. And it doesn't really matter how the goal goes in, whether it be an own goal, penalty, or set piece. But at the same time, we've got a lot of attacking quality there that ain't really free-flowing or fluid at the moment. And I'm looking at the likes of Trossard and Martinelli. I'm looking at the number 10 role, whether it be Odegaard or Eze. And I'm looking at our number 9. And I'm also looking at Saka. None of them are really firing at the moment. And as much as Paul Scholes was bitter and twisted in what he said about how Arsenal be the worst ever champions, he did actually make a very good point at the end of it, which kind of got brushed aside because of how bizarre it was saying. If we do win this league, and let's just talk about just winning the league at the moment, when we come to team of the season, there ain't going to be any of our midfield or attackers in it other than maybe Rice and the rest of our defence. There's going to be no forward line that are even getting close to the likes of Haaland's and Semenyo's and even Igor Thiago's and the likes of Morgan Rogers. They're going to walk into team of the season and everyone's going to go, how the hell have Arsenal attackers not got in it and won the league? We've got to improve, haven't we, in the next 3 months up top?
It's all about the consistency, and it's a consistency of our defending versus the inconsistency of our attack. Our defensive midfield shape and our defending overall is top notch. Over the season, you'd say it's a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Whereas the up top, we're looking at a 4 or 5 out of 10 for most of the players. Trossard, as Kenny mentioned, was in a rich vein of form beginning of the season, making me eat my words, but he's fell off a cliff now. He's just looking like the old Trossard, who was like moaning when he was like getting dropped. And then Martinelli would come on as a sub and perform. And then the next game, Martinelli would stink the place out. And then Trossard would come on and perform. They are 45-minute players to me. They're impact players. They're not the answer on the left-hand side. And you have to give Arteta credit for getting a tune out of that. I don't know what the plan was, whether there ever was a plan to go and get a Rodrigo or a Semenyo. Just the finances stopped us, but that could be one of the things that eventually costs us big time, because the team is well out of balance. If that was effective as it should be going down that left, that would give a lot more options on the other side of the park as well. We become predictable and right centric again, and it was when Trossard was playing well, the team was starting to look balanced again, and that's my big worry with the forward play is that lack of balance and that slowing down of the game to try and get overloads on that right hand side. It frustrates me at times, because I think that could have been one transfer could have solved that problem, and it weren't. That was the one. Can't moan about all the other things that went on, but that is the major issue for me, is a lack of consistency down that left-hand side. When Calafiori plays, which is a miracle when he does play, that side seems to improve, because there's a bit more of constructive play down that left-hand side. And we do tend to sort of open teams up a bit more when he plays. But when he's not playing, it's a bit more predictable. And Incapio's been a godsend, but he's not as effective going forward as he is with his defending. He's decent, but he's not as effective as Calafiori going forward. So there's a few little issues still to be wrinkled out, and we just got to pray really Trossard and Martinelli start doing the business. They got to start coming back into form, because if they don't, and we get too much wibbly wobbly dibbly dobbly, we will be struggling, and it'd be such a shame to get to this stage and then start to stutter. We really have got to kick on now and start putting teams away. And I can feel the nerves in my voice. I don't know if do you feel nervous when you're talking about this? I feel,
of course.
I don't know if other fans feel like this when they're doing so well. I just feel so nervous, and I feel my gut starting to turn over thinking about it, starting to think about what could happen or what could go wrong.
It's because we want it, mate. It's because we want it. It's the unknown. Yeah. It's the anxiety. But we're so desperate for trophies, and we're starving, that we have to do it when we get this much. And sometimes when you're going into one competition, boys, it's like, we've got to win this league. We've got to win this league. We're in a great position to win more than one. I'm not saying we're going to do all four. I'm not saying we're going to do a treble, but we're in a brilliant position to do a double with a cup final there, and we're favourites to win the league. We're in a good position in the Champions League. We're on the right side of the draw, and we've got a favourable draw to get to at least the semi-finals of both FA Cup and Champions League. Of course, we're going to start to feel a little bit butterflies in the stomach and nervous. Now, without sounding too negative, it can all go wrong. You can still end up with nothing. But we would be an absolute crumble if we was to end up with nothing, in my opinion. So we're in a very good position. But I'll ask Kenny quickly, because I do think Russ makes some good points about the strength in depth and the squad. It's fine having all these players and buying these players in the summer, but when there's injuries, it is going to be potential to cost us. And something Arteta's got to do as well is rotate sensibly. Now, the likes of Norgard and Lewis Skelly, probably the only two players this season that I think probably deserved more minutes until now. I think he's done okay, though, with the other players. I think they'd be fairly acceptable of how many minutes they've had and the chances they've been given in this team. But you have now got the likes of Dowman, Havertz all come back from injury, which I actually think will both play a part in contributing to the end of this season. What's your thoughts on this squad and how good it can be in terms of rotation across these four competitions, Kenny?
Well, the thing about you saying rotation, the rotation, Arteta has actually got lucky with the rotation in terms of the opposition we played. Because I'll tell you one thing now, if we had been playing like really decent opposition in the FA Cup, some of these players wouldn't have the minutes. He wouldn't have the opportunity to rotate some of their players. That's kind of factual. You only have to see the teams he played when we played Liverpool in 24 in the third round. He played a strong side. I think Ramsdale was in goal. You look at when we played Man United last year, I think Raya was in goal. He played a very strong side. And so he's had the opportunity to use his squad, and he's had to do that. He had the opportunity to do that in the League Cup. But when we played Chelsea, home and away, he played strong sides. So when you talk about he's done well with rotation, no. He's had his opportunity to use rotation has been put on him on a plate because of the position we played. You know, Port Vale in the League Cup, you know, Brighton, you know, at home. Crystal Palace up to a point where he changed it, but he still has some really top, strong players there. So it's one of those things where, yes, we have a strong squad, but Mikel Arteta still doesn't believe that. You know, you're talking about Max Dowman playing a lot of minutes. I don't think that will be the case. I think Max Dowman will play against Southampton, and that'll be it. Madueke is ahead of him in terms of the manager's thinking when it comes to that right hand side. It's the way it is, and it's how it's going to go. And then Norgard, he won't get another opportunity to play until probably Southampton. So he's still going to want to play his stronger sides, because even in the league where he's not 100% sure that it's in our hands. Mathematically, it's in our hands, but up there mentally, he's still looking over his shoulder when it comes to Man City. So this squad that everyone's talking about, everyone's admiring, and the journalists who should know better. On paper, I don't think they really watch us a lot. I don't think they actually sort of said watch Mikel Arteta, which they should be doing because they've got better access to Mikel than we have. But we go to games, we've seen the squad. We've complained about Declan Rice playing too much. We complained about Norgard not getting enough minutes. It is what it is. Mikel Arteta does not believe we got squad depth, because if he did, we'll be seeing players being rotated in Champions League games and league games in lieu of a big game in the Champions League. But he never does that. So what does that tell you guys?
I don't know what you boys think about this. At the start of the season and in pre-season, Max Dowman was actually getting more of a chance than I even imagined. Kenny's right about Madueke. I think he has got the spot ahead of him and Saka's going to start. I just think Max Dowman creates chaos on the pitch. We saw it the weekend. I appreciate it's against Mansfield. He's the only one who could glide across a carpet on that stinking pitch. I think he's got unbelievable talent, and I appreciate he's only just turned 16, and I know that he's not going to go and win us the league. But I think he can contribute to a lot of fouls and potential chaos and penalties, maybe free kicks, set pieces. And I think he'd be a much better option to be bringing on than a Jesus or a Madueke. I don't know what you think about that, Russ, but do you think Dowman can contribute to the end of this season, or do you think it's just far too early for him?
I think it's too early, mate. I wouldn't want to see him getting overused and sacrificed because we haven't got enough in that area of the pitch to manage without him. He's a breath of fresh air. I love watching him play. As you say, he ghosts across the carpet or across the sand, as it was at Mansfield. I mean, his first touch and his close control is just... It is world class. It is really, really good. We've got an absolute jewel there. Someone just mentioned about Yamal starting every game. The Liga is not the Premiership. It's a different animal. It's a different animal. You watch the defending in La Liga, it's nowhere near as agricultural as it is in the Premiership. The physicality is upper level, which is why Gyökeres don't get the room and the time that he did in Portugal. It's a different level. So we've got to nurture him. We can't be thrashing him. He's a great option to have if you're in a bit of trouble, and to give him 10 minutes at the end of a game. But I don't want to see him being thrashed into the ground. As we'll have another Jack Wilshere on our hands, and he'll be gone by the time he's 21. So I don't want to see that. I'll get him out. He's playing every week for Barcelona. I get that Xavi did and Messi did. So that's a different animal, that league, to playing in this. This is a different level as far as physicality goes, and the protection that players get from the fouling in that league's different to over here. The referee will let things go over here and won't punish reckless tackles as much as they do over there. So I'd be really worried for him, and we've got to be better than that. We've got to be able to equip ourselves without him. We've got to be able to utilise our resources better, as Kenny said. There's no reason now why Norgard can't be pumped into more games. There's no reason why Matt Skelly can't be put into games in the latter stages of games if we're winning. And Madueke and Saka can rotate. So the big issue for me is still that left side where we can't rotate as much. We don't have a good starter on that left hand side. That's one of the big worries for me. But no, Daumann's he's a generational player. Everyone's talking about him. All the northern media talk about him when they've seen him playing in the youth academy. He is unbelievably good, and he could possibly score a big winning goal for us in a final or something if he came on late. He could possibly do that. He's got the talent to do that, but I don't want to see him starting games. I just want to see him nurtured. That's my opinion on him.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree with what you're saying. They want to protect the player. We don't want to end up with someone who gets to 24 and they're absolutely done out here. And some people might say that might even be happening with Bukayo Saka, but I need to give him more time. I can't give up on him.
That's already been done, hasn't it? That ship's already sailed.
I think so, unfortunately.
He's been thrashed since 17 years old. So,
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he's not the only one as well. You mentioned Jack Wilshere, who as well was just absolutely hacked and taken out, and injury-wise, killed him. But look, Kenny, I'll be real with you. There's a few players in this.
You know what I go?
Go on.
When you saw that Jack Wilshere being kicked and he had injury. All right, then. All right, Danny. Go on, man.
There might be other issues.
All right, Dan.
Well, yeah, man.
All right,
we won't go.
He wasn't a young lad going out clubbing with his mates, was he?
No, he weren't. We won't go into that.
Let's get to better. We know you, Jack. We know what you were up to, mate.
It's hard, isn't it? Maybe you should have
know why you had
that George Graham days.
That year out in 2012. Yeah, injuries, okay. But injuries did that stand for. But I think the thing with you compare it with Wayne Rooney at Everton when he was 15, 16.
Yeah.
Wayne Rooney was built like a man.
Yeah.
He was built like a man, so he could withstand the challenges of run-of-the-mill football. He could withhold the challenges of tackles, and he was strong himself, and he had that sixth sense, and he was he had that bloody mindness. He thought he was the best player in the field, and he was basically a big fish in a small pond, which is Everton. At Arsenal, it's a different kettle of fish where Mikel's under incredible pressure to win games. In fact, the good thing about Saturday, and there were some good things, but not in the way we would like, is that I learned more about Max Daumann on Saturday than I did when he came on against Leeds United. Didn't learn anything then. The game was won. I did in pre-season when everyone's raving about him, and I thought, ain't. No one tackles him. No one tackles. No one gets injured in pre-season. Against Mansfield, that's when I thought, I like what I saw because he was on a rubbish pitch. The ball held up. Mansfield wanted to make a name for himself, and he did that major. And I said, this guy can play. This is what I learned. So I learned a lot about Salmon as well. He made a mistake. What? Boo-hoo. It happens.
And another thing, Kenny, was he played very, very central, didn't he?
Exactly.
To Mansfield, he was an engine room sort of thing. He went out, tucked out on the wing. He was
he was able to use his brain, and him and Madueke can't limit the change. So it was a good performance. But Hockey's right. We sometimes we sort of have to slow the takedown when it comes to these young players. There's a lot to learn. They got to fit within a structure now. Yet Yamal is in a situation where Barcelona, where they do have players of his ilk, they build sides around them. They become the main man because they've got such a unique talent that they think they take a risk. At Arsenal, it's not going to happen. We're not going to build a side around Max. Max, we all know what Mikel's about. We all know that Mikel's... everyone talks about Mikel being his disciple of Pep. No. Mikel played for David Moyes as well. But they spent a lot of time off the ball. I was reading something about with Kieran Trippier. He was saying that Simeone wants players to just run. That's what Mikel's going to expect from Max. He knows Max can play. but he wants to know what Max is going to be like when we don't have the ball. He wants to know what Max is going to do when he loses the ball. He's going to run and get it back. It's run, run, run. That's modern football, mate.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame because players like Max do not mix in this modern game. This modern game, especially in the Premiership, it's a shame because I was doing a show yesterday with Gianni, and we were talking about the players of all time that will pay to watch. I didn't pick any of today's players in Europe and in the Premiership. What does that say?
Do you think this is all because it's become so system orientated now, and the coaching has become so ultra defensive? Not just our Arsenal, not just the Premier League, but through the whole of world football. Because you don't see a centre forward coming through the ranks now, do you? Because they're all worried about ball retention.
Well, you only play one of them up front. You only play one forward up front, and that forward has to be elite. And basically, he has to basically work off scraps, and he has to be out of this world where he has to be able to take his half chances. It's not the proper chances, the half chances, modern forward, and that's what they got to practice for. Because they're already going to get his half chances.
Oh.
They're not going to get much service from the wingers because they're actually forwards who will cut onto their stronger side to have shots on goal. So they're not going to pass to you. So it's a kind of situation, but it works both ways. Pep's football is all systematic, but it's attacking, and everyone thinks it's beautiful. But he's a football Philistine. And the same with Mikel is a football Philistine. In fact, they're all Philistines. Amorim, Mikel, and Pep the Philistines, and they're the antidote to football with panache and imagination. And you know what I mean? Very rare players will stand that, but not the norm is players to be robots and play the same way and better run. And that's why it saddens me. But that's the thing. We need, as much as I hate Fes Fabregas, and I loathe him, he's a man of dishonour.
How well is he doing, though, man? How well is he doing?
He's a man. He's a liar. He's a dishonourable man. He's a man that I do not want to manage my football club. But I hope, for football's sake, he wins this argument. I hope he wins it. But would I have him manage my club? I don't like traitors. I just don't like traitors.
He has been. I know your thoughts on this, Kenny, and me and you've spoken about it before, but he has been bloody good for the Como. Oh my God, the style of football is bloody nice. So yeah, there's a lot. He's going to definitely go and get a big job. I don't know who it will be with next season, or if he wants to stay at Como. But I think what it is here, right? This is what I've picked up. Like, you're a lot older than me, both of you, but I'm old enough to remember the 90s and how football has now changed. Because when I was growing up, it was who's the best command of their area as a goalkeeper. Now it's who's best with their feet. When I was growing up, it was who's the best one-on-one defender and tackler. Now it's who's the best passer of a football at the back that can play out from the back. If you look at the passing stats in 10 years, they're all defenders now. It was Fabregas, Modric, Bale, David Silva, Hazard. It's no longer. It's all Van Dijk, Salibas, Gabriels now. And then you look in midfield and they're kind of up top. It used to be two up top. It used to be one just off the striker. There ain't now. It's just one up top and one plays deeper in the 10. It's just completely changed. And Pep Guardiola is a big part of that, to be fair, because he's completely changed how European football's looked at. It's all tick-a-tacker, play out from the back, use a false nine, inverted pullbacks. This has all come from Pep. Everyone's trying to copy it. Badly, by the way. Everyone's copying it badly. But I do think that is something that we need to look at. But as far as we're concerned for this sort of games, we've got Bayer Leverkusen next, which is the next one to look at. And I think this is going to be a massive game tomorrow night, Russ, because not just the competition, but also if we want to rotate a bit in the coming games, we're going to need a big win tonight. Now, I don't think we'll get it for the record, and we'll come on to predictions in a minute. But I think if we could be job done in this game, a bit like last season, we won 7-1 against PSV and it was job done. If we could get into a scenario tomorrow night, where it's 2-0, 3-0 in the first leg, I think it will give us a little bit more option to potentially rotate, not by wholesale changes, but by bringing big players off at times where we need them for the following fixture. What's your thoughts on this one, Russ?
Yeah, it's in Europe we tend to have a bit more room to play, don't we? And being the away team, we should have the opportunities to hit this team on the counter. So I don't think they're going to come and initiate a low block. So I think there will be chances, and if we're clinical enough, I think we can bring a lead back. What I don't want to see is us messing around at the back and and gifting them chances like we have done in the last few games where we've. God, what was he doing against Brighton in the first minute, Raya? You know, and to be honest with you, I've noticed that he's been kicking longer, quicker. We haven't been passing out from the back. The players have been getting waved forward a lot earlier in the game than they were before. So I don't want to see any of that silliness for the first 15, 20 minutes. Quieten the crowd down, get your foot on the ball, and try and impose your class on the other side. And I'm never confident, but I'm reasonably confident because of what we've done in Europe to date that we will get a decent result tonight. How the game's going to go, what the score's going to be, I have no idea. If we're clinical, we can take a decent lead, I think. But if we mess around, we make the wrong choices. On the counter attack, we make the wrong choices so often. We should be burying teams sometimes, and we just don't. We just seem to mess up. So if we can get that part of the game right, be efficient at the back like we are normally, don't mess around, get the lead, get back to the Emirates, and then we can have a tinker around with the team in preparation for the next big games after that.
I don't know about you, Kenny, but 7 injuries for Bayer Leverkusen seems like a good time for us. They're without their goalkeeper, they're without their striker, they've got a couple of wingers and fullbacks out.
Is Schick injured?
Yeah, Schick's injured. So
that's excellent news.
You look at Flecken's out. I've got the list in front of me. Nathan Teller, who used to play for Southampton, he's out. Flecken, who's the Brentford goalkeeper, he's out. Vasquez, who used to play for Real Madrid, he's out. Patrick Schick is out. They've got players such as Arthur, Ben Seguier, and Bayde out as well. Grimaldo's suspended, but I don't think that's for the Champions League. I think that's for the league, so I should be back. But it's a good chance to go and play him, isn't it?
Well, we've got our injuries as well, but yeah, look, it's always you got to take what's in front of you. You got to make your own luck. If you want to win trophies or win quadruples, you got to take the good shots of the mouth. Leverkusen will be absolutely morons if they try to go for it against us, like a lot of teams in Europe have tried. They haven't read the script. If they play a low block in both games, they'll have a chance. But if they don't, then we should be able to sit off pretty comfortably. But once again, we have to be cautious because, as you said, even in the counter-attack, we're not doing anything. We're not outpacing teams. Martinelli is just the equivalent of the Speedy Gonzalez without a brain. The fact is, Speedy Gonzalez, when he's in the cartoons, had a brain. At least he didn't bump into anything. Martinelli just keeps on running and running. I mean, I used to say when Theo Walcott was playing, "Run, Forrest, run." You've got to say the same for Martinelli sometimes. He's so bad. He's so bad. Imagine if he didn't have if he lost his pace, how you'll be seeing his real footballing ability. And then Trossard, oh God, don't. But the fact is that it's
One
going to
second,
be
Kenny, because this super chat will link and it made me laugh. SG says, Kenny, what's your shirt size? I want to buy you an Arsenal kit and print your favourite player Dibbly Dobbly on the back of the shirt.
I'll tell you one thing, SG. I won't do the Goalkeeper celebrations because I find people over the age of 40 for doing it. But I'll definitely wear an Arsenal shirt for you, extra large. Send it to Dan. Dan will bring it to the game. And it will have Dibbly Dobbly on it. I will proudly wear it at every home game.
Do it, Kenny. Don't be a wibbly wobbly.
I am not going to do a Goalkeeper sign. Anyone over 40, you're doing it. I'm finding my pants. That is the great example of immaturity and puerile. You grown men doing that. Next thing you're gonna be dabbing for me. You over 40s.
Oh dear.
Look, man, I wanted to bring this up before we come into some predictions because a lot of people are talking about these players, which I'll put up on screen. Calafiori, Ben White, Trossard, Jesus, Martinelli, and Odegaard. Now, there's a reason why I've put these up on the screen, which you might guess. They're all being linked by fans and by media with moves away from the club. Is there anyone on that list that you're like, what? No way, keep? Or are we quite happy if the right money comes in for all of these guys to move? Because I'll start myself. Calafiori, really like him. He's most improved player this season. but I can't have a player who plays 4 games and gets injured every time. And I'm starting to look at him now thinking, how can we have wanted Kieran Tierney and players like this gone when this guy's injured more than Kieran Tierney? And that factually is true, by the way. He gets injured more than Kieran Tierney does. So I think we might, if something like 45, 50 million comes in for him from Italy, he apparently wants to go back there, I'd say see you later. Ben White, likewise, can't keep fit. If money comes in, we might have to look at parting ways, much as I like him. Trossard's time's done, in my opinion, for the long term. If we get the right money and Saudi are interested, fair play. Jesus just needs to go anywhere. I don't think he's good enough and he's on far too much money. Martinelli, likewise, if the money comes in, I think we might have to get him off the wage bill at 180k a week. I think that's a disgrace. And Martin Ødegaard, I feel like we've moved past. I just don't think something's not right there. I don't know if it's behind the scenes. He might have had an argument or whatever, but for me, he don't look fit when he does play. He don't look the same player, and we might need a new captain and him to be moved on. But maybe I'm being harsh. Russ, I'll start with you.
Calafiori, same as you. I love him. I love his attitude. I love his technical ability. If we can get the injury thing sorted out, keep Ben White, brilliant player. I love watching Ben White. I love it when he's attacking with the ball and linking up with Saka. Keep Trossard. He's coming to the end of his time. He's getting towards the 30-year-old mark now. He's just not quite what we need. I like him when he drifts around the park, when he's a bit more of a free spirit and he's not hugging the left-hand touchline. When he's hugging that left-hand touchline, he's like a chocolate teapot. He just doesn't do nothing for me. Jesus, 2 cruciate injuries. We've had the best out of him. It's a crying shame. He's a brilliant footballer, but I don't think he's ever going to be back to where he was before. So I think he's got to be shipped on. Martinelli, the flirter, he's always been flirting with greatness. He's just, without pace, he's dead, and he's great at work ethic. Arteta loves him for his great work ethic, but for us to go up a notch, we need someone who's got decent end product. We need like a Mark Overmars type player. I don't know if there's any around at the moment, but we need someone like that. So he's had his time. He's still got a little bit of youth on his side, so he can be sold on for decent money. Odegaard, I have no idea what on earth's gone on with him. Whether it's a fallout in the club or whether it's his dietary considerations, whatever they are, allegedly. He just hasn't gone on to... When he first came, he was a breath of fresh air, weren't he? He was brilliant. But he's been sussed. Opposition know how to play against him. So he's just been sussed. And very, very sort of one-track, flat-track bully type player. Very one-dimensional for me. You know what he's going to do as soon as he's going to do it. So I think we need an improvement there. So probably 3 stay, 3... Was it 4? 3 stay? No.
I think you said 2 stay, 4 go. I think you said
4 go. Yeah, 2 stay, 4 go. Yeah.
What are you saying, Kenny? And I'll add to that. Is there anyone else you would add to this list that you'd get rid of?
Unfortunately, and I'm going to be again. I ain't got a problem being it. I'm going to be the guy that says Father Christmas doesn't exist, and I'm the guy. I'm the Truth Terry's me. I'm the one who gives your parents the £5 to give to you when you lose your tooth. He doesn't exist. It's me. I'm the bank. I'm the Truth Terry bank. But unfortunately, because of the money we spent last year, we're going to have to aim a bit higher than that. I fear that one of our players who broke in the team last season, one of them might be able to sold for financial reasons. So you might have to add them. I don't want them to go, but I think one of them will go. It could be Miles. You might have to add on that list. Calafiori I'll keep because I think that he'll make a strong at left back, but I do understand the injury situation. Unfortunately, Ben White, done everything he can. He's had a good 5 years with him. I'll sell because I want to see an upgrade, and then he doesn't. I still worry about him defensively. I like what he did, but really and truly, when Timber's struggling, Ben White's not even in the squad. We can't go like this. Trossard what he should do is to go to mass, pray for thanks that he goes to Trinity play for Arsenal, because if Arsenal want to be elite and dominate football, something they've never done in their history, despite the fact we're a big club, we've never had sustained success. Can't have dibbly-dobblies like that in the team. Just can't. Jesus is what he was in the tin. He was never a goal scorer. Everyone thought he moved the dial when he came from Man City. I didn't realise a substitute was going to help Arsenal be successful and instill, spirit in the team and turn us into trophy winners. A guy whose best stats at Man City is 14 goals, but hey, we'll make it up as we go along. Let's play along. Martinelli, never been good enough for Arsenal. The club been trying to sell him for 3 years. It's about time the club put their nuts on the table and said, off you go. Thanks, but no thanks. Holy God, we've got everything we can out of him. The credit went out the bank. Should have gone out the bank last year. This year he's got to go. It's not sustainable. And then when we do that, we have to buy. You have to buy big. We clearly can't rely on Eze. Eze is not a number 10 in the traditional sense. He's a number 10 in the moment sense. Unfortunately, moments players only do well when they're big fish in small ponds. He's in a big pond now. So we're going to have to use him differently next season. So we're going to have to sell before we can buy. I don't want to hear fans having any attachments to any of these players.
No.
Not some. I don't mind Benjamin, but Trossard, Jesus, Martinelli, and Odegaard, we are definitely going to have a roll around in the cobbles over Martinelli. I'm putting my foot down on Martinelli. The amount of rubbish I had last year about him being elite and that he could have been this, we could have been that. Yeah, I could have been a contender. I could have played for Arsenal. I could have, scored the winning goal in the European Championships. Yeah, could have, would have, maybe. No, just get rid of him. He's not good enough for Arsenal. If Arsenal want to be taken seriously, 90% of these players have to go. And then we have to buy it. But just because we get rid of them, I want elite players who's going to push Saka for his position, push our defenders for their positions. We should even be getting a number 2. We need to actually think about upgrading the Raya. I know that's sacrilege, but if you want to be the best of the best, I'm going to look you both in the eye. First, you, Mr. Hogg. I'm looking you straight in those eyes.
Yeah.
Do you genuinely believe that David Raya is elite and that there isn't a better number 1 out of him? Look at me in the eye now.
He's not as good as Donnarumma.
Exactly. So why aren't we? So if we want to dominate, shouldn't we be looking for a number 1? Shouldn't we always looking to get better?
Yeah.
Now you, Dan, look me in the eye.
I've always said that, bruv. I've always said Raya is a
David
very
Is David Raya an elite number 1 in the kind of echelons of on, or can we get better?
There's always going to be better. I think
why don't we? So why don't we if you want to dominate? Everyone's talking about this guy. He should be looking for better than what we got every day of the week.
I think Courtois and Donnarumma are the 2 elite, yeah.
You make a great point, Kenny. You mustn't become too attached to players. You can admire them and you can and cheer them on and all that, but you mustn't become attached to them because they are harsh words, but they're commodities. They're a part of the machine. They're only cogs in the wheels. I must apologise earlier on. I think I called Miles Skelly Matt. I don't know where I got.
I didn't notice that. Did you actually? I didn't notice.
I've just got a niggling feeling someone's going to clip that up later on. But yeah, that's a great point about Raya, because I think Raya's you have victims of systems, and I think he's a beneficiary of the system. I think because of the way we play, the way we defend so well. I think he's protected to a great.
I don't think he's the problem though. I'll go that far.
No,
I don't think he's
no,
the one.
it's not a massive problem because the system, the way we play, protects him. So when you look at the earlier part of the season when he wasn't having to face a shot for like 7 or 8 games, you know. You don't need an elite goalkeeper in them situations, do you? Because he's not facing. But the problem is, that if we want to progress and we want to become a better item to watch and a better bet for trophies in the future, is we need to be more progressive and we need to have more football played rather than just being complete countering the other team's talent. We've got to have the talent ourselves to overcome other team systems. So, and that will come with better recruitment over the years and by improving our playing staff year on year. We can't get to the situation that we had in 91, 89, 71, where we win a trophy, we win the league, and then we do bugger all. This is a process which we've been rammed down our throat for years and years. There's a process that has to be ongoing. And hopefully with Berta, it will be ongoing, and we need to find from somewhere a Griezmann. We need to find from someone the winger that PSG got, Kvaratskhelia, whatever his name is, Kvaratskhelia. We need to be getting these type of players through the door, not just.
Do you just on that, Russ? Sorry to interrupt. Do you think that Berta will do that now, like the Tonali, Kvaratskhelia, Julian Alvarez, Morgan Rogers? Are these the names we're going to be bringing across the line now?
I've been a big fan of Tonali ever since he went to Newcastle. No secret among all you lot. You all know what I think about him. He's had his issues. He's had his issues with his gambling or whatever happened there. But everyone deserves a second chance in life. And I like him. I think he would suit us down to the ground. I really do. He's got a bit of physicality. He plays quite deep with Newcastle, but he would be hopefully pushed further forward with us. When you've watched him recently, he's played further forward, hasn't he, for Newcastle? And he's scored them banging goals. He's got that in his locker. He's great pass the ball, great first-time pass the ball, which is what we're lacking in middle. Sometimes we've got good passers, but they're not first-time passers. You know what it's like? Football, half a second is a couple of metres. If you delay that pass, the gaps go really quick. So if you can get that ball into your winger's feet really quick from midfield, that's what Rodri was doing for years for City. That quick ball out. He don't.
The brain's quicker than the body, isn't it?
It's bang, it's done, and that gives you time. That gives your winger time to set himself and run at the fullback. That's the thing that's been missing in this football team for years and years and years.
I like that, Russ. I like the sound of it. You know the thing about it, is that a lot of people have mistaken as taking my mischief to heart when I mentioned Raya. But I still see that as a pertinent point. I don't think I like Raya. I love David Raya. His levels about Ramsdale. But just remember one thing. You always have to look for that number 1%. Now,
there's nothing wrong with him wanting better.
Is that and that's that? You go back 2004. Everyone was raving about Kudicini at Chelsea. What a great season he was having. What a great keeper he could have been. But someone just thought, you know what? Someone wanted that number 1% more. They went and got Petr Cech from Rennes in 2004. Look what he was. And then all of a sudden, someone had that thing. Went right, Petr Cech, great servant. He won the Champions League 2 years before that. You know, he's still up there. But they looked at Courtois and thought, yeah, he's that next level 1%. And there's nothing to say Arsenal can't think like that. And that's the thing. You've got to remember one thing. I'll just repeat it. As you said, 71, we didn't win the league. We didn't win it for another 18 years. At Arsenal, we haven't had periods of sustaining success. And one of the reasons we have had periods of sustained success is because we hang on to the players. We're too loyal to players, and we don't move with the times. We don't act like a team that wants to dominate. We act like a team that likes to stay, so having a big club and having great players, but we don't move the dial. You look at cricket. Look what happened to West Indies. Back in the best cricket team I've ever seen, but they never moved the dial. They kept Ambrose and Walsh too long, and all of the batsmen like Greenwich and Haynes. Eventually, everyone caught up, and that's why they're never going to be the best, because they can let the players come through.
Exactly, Kenny. Professional sport is a ruthless business, and you find with the big clubs like the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, Juventuses, they will be ruthless. They will be ruthless, and that's what you've got to be. When it's time to go, it's time to go.
Let me throw these questions at you before we close. They're quick fire ones, right? I'll let you both answer them very quickly. Who starts in goal for the cup final?
Well, do you want to win it or do you want to lose it?
That's exactly my point. I play Raya all day long.
All day long. He's your number one. He's got to play.
Kenny?
Kepa Arrizabalaga will play, as will Trafford play for Man City. Mikel Arteta, in terms of the man management, if anything happens to Raya, he's going to need Kepa in these games. Unfortunately, we're in an era where we've got to keep players happy. I don't think the goalkeeper will make that difference. Yeah, Kepa Arrizabalaga, he's a number two, but he's still got experience of playing League Cup finals. I won't lose any sleep with Raya, whoever plays, but I certainly ain't going to be chopping down trees if Kepa starts over Raya.
Okay, that's that one. Next one is this one. Hopefully this won't happen, but if it does, will Arteta sacrifice a trophy? If so, which one out of the four?
I don't believe so, because things have changed. The squad's big enough to rotate. So no, you don't. This is what people are saying about us getting good draws. When we had good draws, bad draws, and we couldn't rotate. We couldn't rotate, so we had to put basically the same team out, and that's why we ended up falling short on all stalls, because there just wasn't enough legs left in the team. So no, there's no need to sacrifice anything. Every game, you take one game boring. You have to take every game as it comes, win every single game as it comes along, and then you make your adjustments after that. You don't sacrifice nothing, not in my opinion.
Kenny?
Well, he isn't going to sacrifice any of the tournaments, really. But let's be honest, mate. The only tournament he wants to win is the league. He needs the league.
Yeah.
He needs the league. We need the league. The players need the league. Everything, like I said, everything else is angel delight and jelly. That's all it is. It's your afters.
I do quite like angel delight and jelly and ice cream, though.
Yeah, but it's not your main course, though, is it, Dan?
Nah, it ain't main course. I mean, some people it is. Butterscotch angel delight is some people's dinner, mate. Do you know what I mean? It used to be years ago.
It's not your main course, though,
The last one is... Yeah. I agree. Last question. How many games can we afford to drop out of the 8 that are left? And what I mean by that is draws as well as losses.
Well, if we win the next 6 games, we win the league, don't we?
Yeah. So
if
2
we win
then,
the
is that what you're
saying?
saying?
You can afford to lose the last 2.
Is that what you're saying? Kenny?
Well, let's face it.
Because we've got to play City, remember?
Let's face it. I believe every game, you've got to win every game. You can't afford to drop any points. But realistically, we will drop points, because at the end of the day, as I said about this league's got integrity. Some integrity, and it's got some, how to say it, as we say on the Andover sake, play haters. Teams who just great, will take great pleasure from getting a point from us, to say, oh, well, we beat the champions league, or we stopped Arsenal winning. Look at Everton. Those nasty, horrible, blue-nosed gets are going to be spoiling and trying to spoil our fun like I did last season at the Emirates, with their low blocks and their little bit of shenanigans at set pieces and their little holding up the play. You watch, you're going to be tearing every hair you got left this Saturday if we don't score early.
Look, I I think what will happen is we will drop in 3 out of the 8 games, but I think Man City will as well, or maybe 2 out of the 8. But I think Man City will drop as well. I've got an idea of what those games might. I don't think we'll beat them at the Etihad. I think that'll be a draw. And I think the other one, I don't see us winning, but I don't know if it will matter by then because we'll be 3 games left. Is West Ham away because they're fighting for their lives. But that's kind of the only ones. I did say Selhurst Park. That's the last game of the season. Just hate going there. I never feel confident personally, but I think by then things could be very different when we play West Ham and Palace. So I think we've got to take each game. Look at it like this: 8 games ago, we were playing Chelsea and Havertz put us through with the last kick of the game. That's all we got left in the league. And that didn't seem like long ago. So this is going to go very quickly and it'll be done. So look, every game's tough. We've got Leverkusen next. Let's close on the score predictions for that. I'll start. I'm going 1-0 to the Arsenal tomorrow night. What are you saying, Russ?
2-1 Arsenal.
Okay. Kenny?
1-1. Not catastrophic. We got all to do. You've got to remember one thing. It's 180 minutes of football. If Leverkusen want to go on like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, good luck to them because they'll get a nasty shot when we muller them. But any team in Europe doesn't watch our games in the league and how to combat us, then they're idiots. They're absolute idiots. Trust me. It'd be idiotic for any team in Europe not to consider playing a low block and knacking us out and hit us on the break because we are completely on the last gauges of our energy. There is not much left in the tank. All the conversation we're saying about us being being strong in the counter attack, we should be better. We ain't got the energy to do that. We're a lot of players who are either 50% fit or who've just got nothing left of the tank. We're gonna have to crawl to any trophies we win, and that will make it even more pleasurable because we've actually worked hard for it.
Interesting. Look, I hope that we win the game and we go. I want it to be comfortable. I want to go into that second leg believing we're already half 1 foot in the next round, but we'll see. Listen, Russ, absolute pleasure. Big up for being here. Make sure you're following Gooner Russ and Russell Hogg Photography on Instagram. We've got Kenny Ken on Instagram as well. The boys will be back next week. Chris Hudson will be back next week, people, as well. He's been busy today, but big up to everybody that's been here. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.
One more thing.
Go on, Kenny.
SG.
Yeah.
So it's extra large. I do not want a shirt that's going to make me. I've got no problem showing off my chest and in any parts of me muscles, but I actually want a shirt that fits. So if you're going to get a little shirt and put dibbly dobbly in, extra large. If you're not sure, extra large.
Do you know what? I agree, and I actually want to see this happen now. I'd quite like to see dibbly dobbly on the back. I don't know what number you want, though, Kenny. What number do you want?
I'll tell you one thing, I don't want a Trossard's number. My favourite number is number 12 because it's the date of my birthday. So, yeah, I'll probably have number 12 on there.
Timber's number.
I'm better than Timber.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Before I say bye, which squad number is the most used at Arsenal in history? Chat can get involved as well.
Jeez, I don't know, man. Number 12.
Hey, well done. It is number 12. It is. It made that a bit obvious, to be honest. But yeah, no, it is number 12. And it makes sense if you think about it, because it was years ago, it used to be the first sub, didn't it? Number 12.
I don't know. Ask Perry Groves. What his favourite shirt number was.
There we go. A lot of people say 7 like they do in the chat. Everyone goes 7 straight away. But actually, that's not many. There's not been many 7s because most of them were iconic and had it for years. So, yeah, number 12 is the most used, apparently. So there we go. Anyway, we love you and leave you. Take care. Russ, Kenny, thank you. And I'll see you on the next one, people. Up the Arsenal. Laters.